Hello friends, you're welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you how you can make this beautiful double-faced sun hat. Some people call it reversible sun hat. That is because you can be able to wear either side of it. Okay, all right. I believe you know me. My name is Emanuela, the creative director of Ella's Signature Millinery Academy. In case you are joining us for the first time, you're welcome. You're highly welcome. Okay, please, for you to continue enjoying tutorials that we drop from time to time, I urge you to click on the subscribe button as well as click on the bell button. This will enable you to know whenever we drop a new tutorial concerning millinery. Okay, let's start. The first thing we are going to be doing is to measure out our head circumference. I believe most of us know how to do. We just take your measuring tape and put it around the person's head, just like the way I'm doing, and note what it is. Okay, for this tutorial I'm going to be using 20 inches for my head circumference. Okay, for this work now we are going to be having 3 layers of it. We have the top layer, we have the middle layer, and finally we have the brim layer. So we'll be taking the measurements one after the other. Okay, let's start with the top layer. This is my material. I'm going to be cutting out my top layer from this material right now. Okay, remember that we've measured our head circumference. Now we are going to divide it by 6.284. That is a constant. That is a standard measurement for cutting fillet. So just divide your head circumference with 6.284. For me, I'm getting 3.18, of which I'm going to approximate it to 3.2 for easy measurements. Okay, fold your material into 4 like I am doing. Now you get your measuring tape. We are going to be measuring out that 3.2. We are going to be measuring it out on that material because that is what we are going to be making use of. Okay, let me just use the back because I'm going to be marking it. Okay, now I folded it into 4 as you can see. Now I'm going to be measuring from that tip that is all folded. I'm going to be measuring from there 3.2 till I come to the other edge. Then I'll use my scissors and I'll cut it out. Okay, this is it. I've cut it for my material number 2 or my lining, then also for my interfacing. So 3 of them you are going to cut out. Step 2, we are going to be cutting out our middle part, our middle layer, and this is it. I'll show you how I come about that measurements. Now this is 10 because I divided my head circumference into 2. Get your material, fold it into 2, then divide your head circumference into 2 and measure it out. That is what I have here. Okay, Now, when you look, you are going to be seeing a straight line, two straight line. Can you see them? Two straight line. Now, from that point to the other point, I have 4.5 inches. But you can have 4 inches depending on what you want to achieve. Okay, I have 4.5 inches for my middle part. Okay, from that point down is 4.5. all right, now for us to get our middle, you are going to be measuring 1.5 inches from that straight line, the first one up. You measure out 1.5 inches and you mark, and you measure 1.5 inches from the second line upwards. Measure 1.5 inches and you also mark. Just upwards, you measure 1.5 inches and you mark it. Now from that point, you are going to be drawing a curve down to your line. It will be very much easier if you're a tailor, so that you have the tailor's measuring ruler. They have the one for curve, so that's the one you are going to be using in order to make this. But assuming you don't really have it, you just make sure that along all the curve that you made, that all of them ends up being 4.5 inches. Whatever curve you make sure that at the end of the day, you're going to be getting 4.5 inches from that curve till you get to the end of it. Okay, now I'm going to be cutting it with my scissors. I will cut on that second draft that I made, just the way I'm doing it on the tutorial. You just cut it out and you also cut the other end neatly. Okay, this is it. Now I'm going to be reproducing it on my fabric too, and also my interfacing. Alright, this is it. I've already finished cutting it out, so we are done with cutting out our second layer, which is the middle layer. Now we are going to do our third layer, which is the brim layer. Now get that first the first one, that is the first layer, the top layer. Get it, place it on your material like this. You are going to be using something to mark it out. You're going to be using something to mark it out. Maybe use chalk and mark it out as I am doing. After which you cut it out. In order to save yourself some stress, you might as well, when you have cut the first one, you have enough material so that you use the remaining for the second one, the third layer that we are doing now. Now you can measure out 5 inches, 4 inches, 4.5 inches, depending on how big you want your brim to be. Some people like their brim to be big. Okay, now I'm using 4.5 inches. That's the one I'm using for this tutorial right now. Okay, I'm going to make that mark till I come to the other edge. Then I'll connect the lines and I'm going to use my scissors and I will cut it out, leaving a flake for me. Now for that smaller cut, I would advise you to cut something smaller, so by the time you finish it will fit in. But if you happen to cut something that is more, then you may have problem at the end. Okay, I'm going to be making notches on those two edges. I'll also do same in other materials, my interfacing and my lining, or my other part of the material. Okay, I have finished cutting out all the materials that I need. Now I want to start ironing them down on my material. When you look at it, you see that there's a shiny part. Then is that shiny part that you come to the wrong side of your material, your main material. You place it, then you use your iron and activate the gum effect on it so that it can be able to come down on your material. Okay, I just notched the two sides. This is to make sure they align very well when I start placing them together. Another thing I forgot to mention is that your interfacing should not be the same length as your main material. It should be smaller. Than that. Okay, now we are going to be joining our material. We will join this fabric too. We are going to be joining it together. While we join the Ankara part together, then at the end of the day we are going to then join both of them together. So the first one we join is this middle layer. So after joining it, sewing it like you've seen me do, you are going to align the two notches that you have made before. Okay, I'm going to make notch for this circle right now. Okay, this is for easy alignment. It's for easy alignment. Okay, I'm going to be joining both of them. First of all, I'll use my needle or pin to hold it all round. Then I will now go to my sewing machine and I will sew it down. Okay, when you look now, you see that there is an alignment on the notches that we made earlier. So that means that our measurement is correct. Okay, after pinning it, we are going to go to our sewing machine and sew it down. Okay, as you can see, I have finished sewing it down and this is what I have. So we are making progress. Now we have made a cap. It's remaining for us to attach it a brim so that it will form a hat. Okay, I forgot to mention earlier that when making your notch for the middle layer, you are going to make it both up and down. The first one is for the top layer, while the second one is for your brim layer. So you just align it and you pin as usual, after which you go to your sewing machine and you sew it down. Okay, this is it. I have finished attaching the brim layer to the other layer, and now my Ankara part is ready. I'm going to do the same thing using my other fabric. Okay, this is it. This is for the other fabric. I just did the same thing I did to the first one. The next thing I'm going to do now is for me to join both of them together. So if you look at my Ankara, it is the front. Then I'm going to be joining the front to it also. I'm going to be joining the front to it. Okay, I'll just push it down. I'll just push it down to make sure that both of them align. I'll push it down very well. Then I will use my sewing machine to sew all around and join it together. Okay, I'm going to be holding it down along that edges, but I'm not going to be closing it up all together. I am going to be leaving about 3 to 4 inches where I'll be using to turn it inside out. Okay, I'll just measure out about 3 to 4 inches and I'll mark it out so that I will not have to sew all of them together. When I finish sewing, I'm going to be turning this material inside out using this space now that I am creating. Okay, this is it. I have finished sewing it, as you can see, and I am leaving out my space too. I'm leaving out my space that I'll use to turn it out. Okay, I am turning it out right now, bringing the right side to be outside. Okay, now you can see that opening that I left. We are going to be ironing it down, after which we are going to be running a stitch to close it up. Now we are going to run the stitch all around the heart. So you don't just run one place and leave it. No, you have to run that stitch all around the heart. And you might decide to run more than one stitch. You can make it double or triple, as I'll be doing. I'm going to be making my own triple. I am ironing it in order to straighten it out and also make my work to be smoother. Okay, this is it. I did 3 stitches round my cap. It serves as design too, but you can make only one if that is what you want to make. Okay, this is our Ankara part, our Ankara side. Remember we said it can be double faced. This is the other side. I'm just trying to iron it too. I'm using iron, not too hot iron, and I put my hand inside and I'm just ironing it all around. Sorry, I was not able to video it very well, but that's just what I am doing. Okay, with that we come to the end of this tutorial. Alright, thank you for being part of this class. Bye. See you in another of our tutorials. Bye.